Okay, good evening. Good evening. We'd like to welcome everyone to the Golf Committee meeting for November the 8th, 2022. And we'll start with the roll call. Jeff Converse.
Here.
John Cookson.
Present.
Keith Hochstein, present. Suzanne Connolly.
Present.
Mark Bushway. Absent. Bill Silver.
Present.
Jason Orby, absent. In accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30, Section 20, I have to inquire as to whether or not anyone is taping this meeting. And seeing none, I would also like to just let the public know that this meeting is being recorded and will air on Channel 18. Do we have any public comments, Jesse?
We do not.
We do not. Okay, we want to act on the minutes of the October 11th meeting. First, does anyone have any comments, additions, deletions to those minutes?
They were well done.
All right, seeing none, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Second? All in favor, Jeff Converse?
Aye.
John Cookson?
Aye.
Keith Hochstein, yes. Suzanne Connolly?
Yes.
Bill Silver?
Yes.
Excellent. All right, the next item on the agenda is the food and beverage vendor status. Jesse?
What do you want to know?
I think, well, I'll open it first to the committee, and then I'll tell you, if people don't have some things, I'll put my own comments in. Suzanne?
At the last meeting, I had asked if there could be some conduit for the town golf committee
Yep.
to share info, opinion, be involved, because we're the folks who use the two facilities. And for the golfers of Barnstable Golf, the restaurants are really important. They're a big part of the experience. You golf and you sit with your friends and you enjoy a beverage or lunch or even dinner. And so I just wondered if it was possible to have some sort of input. And that's all I'll ask about.
The question was asked and the response was positive, although they said probably limit it to one. So
Okay.
it's in my report, but I'll tell you, Keith will be on the committee.
Excellent.
It'll be 5 of us. Myself, Keith, Mary, well, for this RFP. When we go out for Hyannis, different story.
All right.
But myself, Keith, Mary Holloway, Maddie Noonan, and I don't know if you know, I had asked Chris Ganella. He's the new Assistant Community Services Director.
No, haven't met.
So
Chris.
he and Maddie work side by side, but
Okay.
it'll be the two of them, myself, Keith, and Mary.
That's wonderful.
So
Yeah.
bids are due December 1st, so I'm sure we'll meet
And with
sometime
respect
quickly
to the
after.
other site?
With the other
to
site,
Hyannis?
next year, when that's up,
Oh, okay.
I assume if it's a carbon copy, it will be pretty much swap out Mary for Tom,
Yep. Okay.
and, yeah.
I think that's a wonderful development, thank you.
Sure.
Yep. And I just want to mention, I'm not playing on my phone, I forgot my folder, so I'm reading the agenda on my phone. All right,
So
thank
how,
you.
how did that work? How did you put the RFP out there? I mean, how many, were they
It-
directed to certain individuals, or was it a public
Oh, it's public,
announcement?
right,
Public
so we
announcement?
worked on it behind the scenes for a while, what we wanted to post, it went back and forth a million times from us to procurement, to legal, to, and then once we have it to where we want it, it gets posted, it's in the Cape Cod Times for 2 weeks, it's on the town website, and I think it's also, I forget, there might be one other medium they use to promote it, but it's very public. Yeah, it's gonna be in the Times for at least another week, I think. And then the town just went to a new system on, as far as procurement, called Bonfire. It's this
I've heard of it.
this software they use, yeah, so you can go on the town website, it's free to create a username and log in, and then you can log in and see everything the town has out to bid right now, and, but yeah, it's.
And you can reach that off the town website?
Yep, and bids and either procurement or bids, I forget what it's called, but it's right on the homepage. with all the little icons you can click on, yeah.
So we don't know at this point how many, what the level
No,
of interest is?
We won't know till December 1st at noon.
Okay.
Is the deadline, so, yeah,
They were all
No.
sealed bids opened at the same time in the
correct.
same
It'll
room?
be- Yep,
Hmm.
exactly.
And exactly what are they bidding? You know, what is the?
Well, it's, you know, it's I shouldn't say bid, it's a request for proposal, I suppose it would be, because there's no, it's not like a construction project where you're saying, well, I'll do it for X.
Right.
It's, they're putting together a proposal saying, here's what we'll do. And I expect any bidder to put together something, you know, substantial. And that's when we all open it up and read them, and then we, as a committee, will rank the bidders.
Can you go back to the bidders for clarification?
Oh, sure.
Okay,
Yep. And then after a few meetings, we'll rank, the five of us will rank, and, you know, say there's 4 bidders, we'll rank them 1 through 4, add it all up, and then if there's a clear-cut number 1, we're done here. If there's not, more discussion would need to happen, you know.
Great,
So that should be done by hopefully mid-December.
excellent. Thank you, Jesse.
Any other comments from the committee? Okay, I had asked for this to go on the agenda. First of all, I'm gonna go back to what Suzanne said. We all know this, but the restaurant at the golf course plays a very important part in the overall experience of the golf course. And I'm gonna refer for a second to the restaurant upstairs. The first year that he had the contract, there were difficulties. And it's hard to be a restaurant owner at a golf course. It's different from being a restaurant owner in the general public. So what we want to do, and absolutely, we want to support both of these restaurants. We want them to succeed because we want that atmosphere to be in existence at both of the courses. I play here many times, have a meal here afterwards, a beverage out on the deck, and it's extremely, extremely pleasant. So we want that for both courses, and I want to be clear about that. I think the concern, and this was raised at the last meeting, was the fact that the gentleman over at Hyannis has not paid his fees for 1.5 years. And I understand that he was given a pass because he did do a good deal of improvement on the restaurant and the function room. And in fact, he tried to open that first year, he tried to open that downstairs snack bar, which was really a great idea. It just didn't work out, but he was trying to do things. So absolutely, we want to support him. But the fact that he is not paying the rent is upsetting to me.
It's, all I can say is it's above me at this point.
I know it is.
I'm probably not even privy to conversations that have happened recently as far as what the plan is. And I know I'm not trying to pass the buck or play dumb, but this is in the hands of my superiors at this point, and I'm waiting for information just like you are, essentially. I know it's not a great answer, but that's,
Okay.
that's what I have.
Does the golf committee have any, what word should I use here? Do we have any input? I'll just use the word input, and I'll let it go at that, into the fact that this rent is not being paid.
I doubt it, to be honest. I think it's in the hands of asset management right now. And from there, it gets handled or it goes to legal. And,
That rent, does that hit your bottom line?
Sure,
Then
absolutely.
we should have something to say about it.
Well, you're doing it right now.
This is true. This is true.
I mean, it's revenue to the course, no different than greens fees or range balls. It's revenue.
Let me also add that to not have this under your purview, when it does affect your bottom line, seems to me a little, I don't know, it doesn't make much sense to me.
It's wrong. It's just wrong.
Because you're the director of golf, and oversight of the vendors is something, I mean, you oversee all the vendors associated
Sure.
with Barnstable Golf, except for that, those two operations, and I'm not sure why.
Well, you're right, but when my actions and requests for information come up short or don't get handled, I have nowhere to go but look above me and say, can you help me out? So, if that makes sense.
Well, Keith, I think the rent is one thing, but as you mentioned, going in afterwards is another thing. And the people that I know go in up here, they don't go in at Hyannis. And the same thing with my wife. The people that she knows stop in here, they don't go in at Hyannis. And she was telling me a couple times she was eating up here, and there were two women, and she said to them, gee, I didn't see you on the tee sheet today. And they said, no, we played over at Hyannis, but we came over here to eat.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah, and that's what's going on.
I mean, that line of authority should be spelled out, at the time that you're doing the RFP and you're putting things out there.
It is on paper.
Mhm.
In reality, it hasn't worked that way.
All right.
That's what I'll say. I mean, it's, the place looks great.
It does.
It just hasn't, for whatever reasons, it hasn't
Caught
really hit its
on.
stride yet.
It hasn't caught on.
Yeah.
Well, to go back to John's point, and I think we don't have to go too deeply into this. I mean, for a long time, he had that truck out there, and nobody trusted the food, and in fact, sometimes, and again, all of this is hearsay.
Yeah.
And so I don't really want to base any factual opinions on this, but people told me that they got food that was not good to eat. So that's why your wife and many of the ladies that play over there once a month in the ladies' league will come back here. So you're absolutely right, John. There are two issues here, but the only one that I thought we really could address in any sort of hard manner was the issue of the rent.
And his contract is up next year. I thought they were both up this year, but
No,
it's
he
next
hasn't.
year, okay.
Here's another year, so
End
we
of
can.
March 24.
We'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
Any other comments on
About
that
halfway
issue
through.
then?
I should say I did have breakfast over there one day. It was very
Okay,
good.
very
At
good.
Hyannis.
Good, I'm
So-
glad to hear that. We
No,
want him to succeed.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
want both of these people.
Well, I'll say that at the women's championship at Hyannis, which was very well attended for a change, I wasn't DFL for once. The food was fabulous, and he
Good.
fed us very, very well.
There have been plenty of positive comments that I've
Yeah,
heard.
yeah.
It's just a shame the other stuff tends to.
It's not like catching on the way, it's not.
That's what I mean.
It's
There's
not
been plenty of-
comfortable like it is
There's been plenty
here.
of individual positive comments.
Yeah.
I wonder sometimes if it doesn't have to do with that staircase, climbing up that staircase instead of just 3 steps up into the old Barney restaurant. you know?
The building's tough.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, there's, I don't know.
If that were the
Okay.
case, then the snack bar that they had set up would have been a lot busier than it was.
True, yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah, that's not really the case. I mean, let's be realistic, okay, across the board, most of the municipal golf courses, restaurants, the patronage that they get from the locals is kind of lacking a little bit. It's just the way it is. I
Yeah.
mean,
No, like Keith said, it's a different animal than just
yeah,
opening a
oh, it's a
restaurant. Your
much
clientele
different
is-
animal.
Yeah, Sandwich Hollows pulled it off.
well, I think it's
But they're
been pulled
probably
off
the only
here.
ones. Oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes, I'm saying
yeah.
outside of us.
It's
yeah.
a whole different, it feels like a club here, and,
I
It
played
depends.
over at Holly Ridge with my grandson, and they have my email, so I get emails from them. And they put out even a holiday menu, you know, where you could go and pick out sides and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of incredible. It's not municipal, but
Right. I've heard decent things about that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's its own world over there. Just, you know.
well, it's an idea that maybe some of these, you know, this guy could do something along those lines, you know. Probably has access to all the emails, right?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I mean, we could send out things for him,
Yeah.
but at the same time,
And you could charge him.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if turning our email database over to what technically is a
No.
private entity.
Yeah,
Uh,
can't do that.
right.
Okay.
But he could give you
Something to
a
send out.
write-up or something to
Correct.
put out there.
Correct.
And, you know, I mean, part of the problem with any golf course restaurant is the marketing issue. You know, I mean, it's very hard to market it. You've got an audience of golfers that are coming in particular, the ones that are gonna be probably eating at each restaurant or whatever, are more from your outside play. You know, they're gonna be drinking or whatever, but they're also gonna be eating there. But I have a question about, is he using the concession cart? You know, are they,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's out there.
she's
Out
out there a
there.
lot.
This is at Hyannis.
Yes.
At Hyannis, yeah.
It's not at Old Barnstable.
No.
Right,
They
Hyannis,
don't,
yeah.
they don't do that at
It's
Old
out there.
Barnstable, right?
Every once in a while, you'll
Yeah.
see the concession card out on
Right.
the weekends,
I have never seen
mostly.
it during the week.
Never,
but-
no, not on the weekends.
But I don't play on the weekend, so I've seen it on, during the week over at Hyannis.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to them if they deem it
Yeah,
worth it.
okay.
It's, you know, it's
Yeah.
really tough to get staff. Everybody knows that. And if,
Yeah,
you know, if somebody's going out there in that card spending all day and they're making $60, it's tough to keep that person coming back, you know.
Okay. All right, why don't we move on to the next item, and that is the FY '24 capital improvement plan. Jesse?
Sure, so, this is really what James and I have been working on for the last month or so, is our CIP submissions for FY '24. We have 4 of them. So the first one, these are ranked in order of priority. It's gonna be quite a while before we know which get approved, partially approved, what have you, it'll be months. But what we are submitting is, number 1 is, just like we just got that huge equipment package here at Old Barnstable, we're now doing it for Hyannis. It's just under $500,000. We'd likely be taking out a 10-year bond. However, the last time we did this at Hyannis, those payments are falling off, and they're about the same. So I keep using the example of leasing a car and turning it in and getting it,
Yeah.
you know. So basically, it really won't have any impact on our operating budget. So that's good. So we're hoping that. I can't imagine it won't get approved. That's really what we need. The equipment at Hyannis is it's time. It's time.
And how much did you say that was again?
A little like 492, just under $500,000.
Okay.
So we're likely gonna pay that off over 10 years. The payments would start at about 68,000 and go down from there. We just had, we paid 62,000 this year for the last payment of the equipment package. So 62,000 is being freed up. We'd start at 68, so it's only a $6,000 hit to the operating budget, and it'll be less and less moving forward. The second one is irrigation heads at Old Barnstable. We're talking about $80,000 worth. James can speak to it a little more, but we're talking about 300 sprinkler heads that are all original and over 30 years old and in desperate need of replacement. Good news here is I believe Mark Milne is leading towards funding that solely at a surplus. So zero effect, zero hit to the operating budget.
And how much were they?
About $80,000
$80,000.
to replace about half the sprinkler heads on the golf
Okay.
course. Which
How
and
old
that,
are the other half? I mean, are the other half,
The other half have slowly been replaced with a newer style over the
Okay.
years as they break or fall apart. So that would get us pretty close to having all the newer style heads.
and that's a huge one because it goes beyond, again, I mean, James should be explaining this, he could better than I can, but it goes a long way towards the whole environmentally sustainable plan,
Sure.
because the new sprinkler heads are way more efficient, cuts down on watering time, cuts down on amount of water used. cuts down on the amount of time the turf is wet, hence less disease, and then less measures being taken to attack the disease, which is exactly what we're trying to get away from.
What kind of,
So-
the hunter?
Rainbird, Rainbird. We have
Rainbird.
Rainbird software, so it just makes sense to
Yeah.
stick with Rainbird. And by buying this many at the same, we're getting a fairly significant discount by buying that many all at once.
Great.
The third submission is a new, this may not be exciting to you, but it's needed, a new roof and overhead doors for the cart barn here, which is badly needed. The roof is in bad shape, the overhead doors are in bad shape. Basically call it a cart barn renovation. This is estimated around $160,000. Mr. Milne also said we could probably tap surplus for that. So again, no effect to the operating budget.
And you had mentioned that if you do a new roof, you could then think about solar? No?
I don't think we're there yet.
Okay.
It's still something I want to do.
Right.
I want this place to have solar and electric carts
Electric carts, yeah.
at some point.
Okay.
But we just signed a 5-year lease for gas
Yeah.
carts, so it's,
I can't wait.
right, so we'll start talking about that a couple years from now and,
Yeah. Okay. Just,
The last thing, and I don't know the number, is a storage building, a cold storage building here at Old Barnstable to store all the brand new equipment that James just got that
Wow.
sits outside or in trailers that we're spending $7,000-8,000 a year to rent to house them. I forget the number on that.
350-ish.
350. Okay, so right. So that's the fourth one. It's the lowest on the priority list. Doesn't mean we don't need it, but that's 4 of 4. I already kind of said this. I'm happy to say it's looking like we can get all of them done with virtually no impact to the operating budget, which is huge for me. The equipment package will just take on the payments that are dropping off, very similar. As it stands now, our surplus was last certified at just over 2.3 million. If we were to pay for the ongoing Hyannis cart path project, the irrigation head replacements, and the cart barn, let's take the storage building out of it for a minute, we could pay for all that at a surplus and still have 1.7. So we could get all that done, still have 1.7, and not really touch the operating budget. So that's all really good news. That's really it. That's it for this coming fiscal year. Moving beyond that, James, Chris Ganella, and I will be working on a 4-year, we're finally kind of zoned in on what we want to do here, a 4-year phased approach to bunker renovations. So year 1 being greenside bunkers at Hyannis. The next year, greenside bunkers at Old Barnstable, back to Hyannis for fairway bunkers, back to Old Barnstable for fairway bunkers.
that's a cool.
So that would be FY 25, 6, 7, 8. So we have to come up with a 5-year CIP plan. It's a rolling 5, So that would be, FY 24 would be all the things I just mentioned. Those are one and done things. And then we're also gonna be submitting for FY 25, 6, 7, 8, 4 years worth of bunker renovations. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I think they were due yesterday. CIPs were due yesterday. So there's a task force. Takes a while. We'll know in a matter of probably months. It'll be probably 4 months before we hear anything. None of this would happen before July 1st anyway, because it's all FY 24.
That's knocking off a lot of deferred maintenance.
Correct, and it's, we've never, God bless Bruce, he knew all this needed to happen, but
Yeah.
with 600,000 sitting in your surplus,
You can't-
he couldn't
yeah,
do anything.
yeah.
So now all of a sudden, golf explodes, we're sitting on 2.3, and it's time to use it.
Absolutely.
It's time to use it.
Absolutely.
Well, the other thing about that, Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong, is starting in FY 25, the debt on Hyannis will have been paid off.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
that is gonna free up, what, 300?
Correct.
325,000 a year,
Huge.
just
Yeah.
right off the top of our expenses.
Huge.
So
It
that
is, yeah.
is, and I believe that's what the town had indicated to you in the past, that we could begin to proceed with that project, at least begin to request
Right.
that we can proceed.
Right. For this, if the question you were wondering is why aren't bunkers in it this year, we had talked to Mark Miller and he
Right.
said, no, let's attack the cart paths
Right.
first. Anytime the word safety is mentioned, you deem something a safety issue, and all of a sudden that's priority number one, as it should be. So car paths became number one, and then we'll move into bunkers. And we're still, James, Chris Cannell, and I have a lot of discussion to do about, there's like 15 different ways you can go about renovating a bunker. It all comes down to the liner that you're using. And it depends how much we want to spend, and you know,
Just out of
Smaller,
curiosity,
get rid of the lips.
If you wanna
If
get
they
the
were-
rocks out.
Yeah.
if they were a bunker, say like from here to the end of this table, right here, round, do you have any idea what that would cost, doing it the right way?
15,000.
15,000.
One bunker?
One bunker, yeah, okay.
Wow.
I actually thought it was more than that.
About 15 for an average size bunker. Yeah. So you figure Hyannis,
We
you
have
know,
45 bunkers.
So 700 grand, whatever that is. Yeah.
Okay,
So you're starting with the green side.
Just green side and Hyannis.
Because they're the most used.
They're in the worst shape, and I mean,
That's where you end up
green
all
side's
the
way
time.
more important,
Yeah.
frankly,
Yeah.
than.
Yeah.
In fact, you don't want a lot of sand in a fairway bunker.
Right.
You don't want to go in there
You
and
wanna
try.
be able to hit out of it.
Right, you don't want fluffy
Exactly.
sand in a
But
fairway
you don't want
bunker.
any lips either,
Right.
so.
But we're also, he's sick of hearing me talk about it. There's a lot of bunkers I want to get rid of too.
Yeah.
I want to keep going on eliminating them. I don't know, but we'll see.
well, we have knocked, you have knocked down from 60 to 45
Right.
at Hyannis, right? And nobody has missed them.
Correct.
Nobody
Correct.
has missed them.
Yeah. Oh, the one on the right, a 3 fairway. I mean, how much better is that gone? Front of 8
Well,
green.
that's
all of it.
$225,000 less we have to pay to
Correct.
renovate.
Correct.
Just because we have 15 less.
Yeah.
I missed the one in front of the 8th hole.
Yeah.
You
That's
do?
that served no purpose. That hole is tough enough. It's
I think I hit 2 or 3 bunkers in a row on 13 the other day.
Those are
Off
man,
the tee,
Those are
good
tough.
drive, sorry, in the bunker.
At
one
Old
in-
Barnstable.
Oh, at Barnstable.
Yeah,
Barnstable.
at
Sorry, Old
Barnstable.
Barney, I think
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got blasted
John
out
was
of there.
talking about Hyannis, but yeah.
No, I know, that's it.
The one
There
in
are
front
a
of,
few
at
extra
11.
bunkers on 13, Bill.
Yes.
You're 8 bunkers
Yeah.
on one hole of a
It's a
public
bit
golf
much.
course.
Yeah. I think those bunkers are there probably for aesthetic reasons, and because it's a cool look from the tee.
No, it isn't.
Until you're in. Yeah. This isn't Oakmont. Right, yeah.
Well, let's
Well, I
not
mean,
make
there's
it-
OB on the left anyway, so you know, you try, I mean, it's
Right.
the landing area, isn't it?
The really ridiculous one at Hyannis is on 11, in front of the green. What? Yeah, you agree, James?
We got plans.
You do?
got
Awesome.
plans.
That's just a ridiculous bunker. I
So
mean,
I have not only the bunker is too penal and too steep, but I have issues with that is way too short of a shot to be blind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You should never have a
exactly.
120-yard
Blind shot.
blind
yeah.
shot. If it's a
Over a
tee
bunker.
shot and it's blind, fine, because you're just trying to hit it in a 30-yard wide area.
Right.
Even a 200-yard par 3 that's kind of blind, fine, because at that point, you're just trying to hit it anywhere near or on the green.
Correct.
But with such a short shot,
Yeah.
What
You
can you
should be able
do
to
though? What, I mean,
well, we're talking about collapsing the lip.
Yep.
So taking the lip of the bunker,
really
And
shady.
giving you
shove
more-
it back down in, and then I could care less if a bunker stays there. I really
Yeah,
don't care.
But you could use more view on the left-hand side of that bunker to the green.
Right.
To see the green better,
I could,
at
yeah.
least.
I
you know
would
what
like
mean?
to be able to see the putting surface from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
tee. I think
'Cause
it's
you
way
can't
too.
right now.
I'm sitting there with, I'm holding a wedge or a 9-iron. I can't see my target. That's a little crazy.
That's stupid, yeah.
You know.
You
Um,
know where not to
necessary.
go.
it's and that fairway and the green is so narrow too. There's nowhere to miss that green.
No,
You can't. Literally, there's nowhere to miss that green.
a little to the right.
So
very
yeah,
little to the
we have
right.
plans for that. Hopefully this winter. We'll
Excellent.
attack that. I don't know if would a bunker stay. Do you think?
I guess it could. I mean, we'd have to
I-
shave down the
Right.
big lip.
I care
and
more
see-
about
yeah.
the visual.
Cause you have the one on the right up there too. to the
That's
right.
gone now.
It's gone now?
That's gone.
So,
Yeah, that's
Sweet.
gone.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
I think about the 15th at Old Barnstable, the way you renovated that.
Yep.
When you had the 2 bunkers and
Oh,
you just
yeah.
made the 1 bunker.
Mhm.
It's a very aesthetically pleasing.
Came out great. Yeah.
It's
nice.
almost like it's the signature hole. I know 18 is the signature hole, but it's almost like it's the signature hole of the course. And
15 is
if
great.
maybe a similar kind of thing could be done at 11 at Hyannis.
Yeah.
It can. We did
Yep.
that one on 15 in-house with the
Yeah,
backhoe.
Yeah.
I know you did.
It's really
I know
cool.
you did, and it looks great.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right.
Anyone have any other questions on the CIP?
Switched up.
All right.
Good luck, Jesse.
Director of
it
Golf Maintenance
I think we're
report.
fine.
I don't have a whole lot. Start with the deep tine aeration we did at both courses, went very well, I thought. Minimal disruption, we got a nice healthy top dressing on the greens.
Greens are fantastic.
I thought it came
They
out really
really
nice.
are nice.
Yeah, at both courses, so that was great. And then I think, Bill, you touched on it earlier, the seeding that really kicked in at both courses to bring our fairways back, which was
They
huge.
came back, I can't believe it.
We got a little bit more to do in a few spots, but yeah, overall, very pleased with that. The leaves are coming down fast and furious. I think
Leaf roll.
that drought really stressed out those trees. They're just coming down.
Now, all those
Yeah.
golf balls, you can, when you find them, you can sell them. That's the bottom line.
And that's 100% margin.
Well, you use them on the range, right?
That happens.
Yeah.
On 9 at Hyannis, they
Bear
end
with
up.
us, especially at Hyannis, just trying to catch up with it, but we'll get it cleaned up. But yeah, a little earlier than they usually come down. The ladies' tee on 5 at Hyannis. I'm probably gonna hold off until the spring. If you've been over there, that's kind of like the main artery for our cart path project, and it's basically going right where we've selected our location for the tee.
James, I tee off from that tee. I really don't like that ladies' tee.
Forward,
Oh,
forward tee, James,
Forward
forward
tee.
tee.
It's the second time I stumbled on
But
that
there's,
one.
You'll learn.
there's a forward tee there.
The
You're
forward
canceled.
tee. It's not canceled, but I've been canceled. But,
You're canceled, yeah.
we're gonna hold off until the spring because there's already damage there. It's gonna get worse.
So what's going on with, on 5 at that tee?
That's, well, it's gonna be on the left. And that is their main artery to get out onto the golf
The paving
course
people.
for the paving project.
Oh.
It's already getting destroyed.
The trucks are going back and forth right where they'd be trying to build a tee.
Oh, great,
So
that's the
it's-
one
so
we
it's
But
got.
there was a tee there. There was-
No, on 5,
On 5?
we're building a new forward tee on
A
5
new
at
forward
Hyannis,
tee,
way
okay.
up. 70,
Up
80
fur-
yards up.
Oh,
where the old,
okay.
so
All
that
right.
like, most ladies will be able to hit it over the bunker.
Can you get it more away from the trees than the one is now?
Yes.
Yes, oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it's gonna
alright.
be fairly close to the fairway, but it's still, there. If we put it in there now, it's gonna
Uh-huh.
get destroyed,
All right,
so.
no, that's fine.
um,
That's the one, we actually, yeah. Since you're mentioning it though, can I tell you the reviews on number 18 at Hyannis?
I was just thinking about that. Into the
Not good,
pond.
on the forward, it's
Is it the
really,
trees?
I think, yeah, you gotta sort of land on the flat to the right, because otherwise you're in the woods. And
Yeah, that's how that hole's designed.
I know, but if you hit, no, it's really, it's a tough shot. It made things worse. People were telling me in league that they thought it should go back to the way it was. I said, James will be very disappointed
So
to hear
what-
that.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna
anyway,
challenge you on this.
I'm
Go
gonna,
ahead.
I'm gonna challenge as well.
Why?
If it would've went back to the way it was, where does a good T-ball go?
The good T-ball ends up on the flat part of, the upper flat part of
Before the
the
hill.
fairway, before the hill.
Right.
So now what?
So why not select the club that hits it there, if that's a good T-ball?
Huh?
Why not select the club off the tee that
Oh,
hits it to that spot?
Keep driver in your bag
Yeah.
and,
Well, that's
because
my
it's a
point.
long hole.
I don't hit driver on 18 because I'm afraid of going in the water.
Yeah, okay,
So
never
now,
mind.
you see my point? That hole is designed so
I'm
that
just
you have to
telling
worry
you-
about the water off the tee.
Now, a long hitter like Keith, a really long hitter like Keith.
You have to worry about the water, right, from up there,
No,
from the front tee?
I don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
Because he'll hit it over the hill, but, far enough so that it's not gonna go in the woods. And, that's it. I'm just telling you what I'm hearing, that,
It is there's no doubt, it's a challenging shot. But in my opinion, challenging shots are good.
It's supposed to.
Yeah.
Do
But
you
people
want-
want to hit
Sometimes-
driver. They want to hit
well,
driver.
sometimes challenging
you're-
shots are just
you're raising a
ridiculous,
good
like
point.
11.
That doesn't
It's
resonate
like
with me.
16, do I want to risk going down the gully or in the
If-
woods or hit an eye and in the middle?
If you've deemed that a perfect T-ball is in this spot, then you should be hitting the ball to that spot, regardless
I
of what
would
club it is.
recommend asking,
you know.
the new president of the Barnstable
Okay.
Ladies Golf Association to take a poll, because the women have been telling me they don't like it, and so I'm
Because
hearing,
they're worried about the water?
because of where our shots end up, and I guess you're right, I mean.
Which is where?
If they're using their if they're
If
using
you're,
their drivers.
it's
Right.
gonna end up in two places, it's gonna end up in the woods, but if you shoot to the right, you're gonna end up on the, over the hill
Right.
and down on the lower level and pray that the ball stops before rolling down the really steep hill.
Right.
Into the water.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah,
When I stand on the tee from the Blues or another player,
yeah,
what do you think I'm worried about?
the water.
The
We're
exact
all worried
same
about
thing.
the water,
Right.
Yeah.
So now we've created shot equity.
yeah.
Now every player is worried about the same thing.
All right, well,
That's
just.
perfection in a golf course
I'm just telling you, they
design.
don't like the new tee balls.
You know what? But you know what? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm just passing along what I hear from other golfers.
They were looking for an advantage, and they really,
I mean,
He
hit a
did-
7-iron off the tee, and now you're in
Yeah.
the perfect spot. Now it's like you teed off from back there.
he's making a good argument, Suzanne.
Yeah, it's shot equity.
Thanks a lot, Bill.
That's
sorry.
shot equity. That's
What do they
It's a
want?
good
Harwood?
argument.
Shot equity.
right.
All right, so I'll have the ladies visit you in your office and tell you why they don't like the
One
new
at
tee
a one at a
balls.
time.
Yeah, one at a time. Yeah, right. But that's okay. I won't speak up
How about
any longer
17?
about this. 17's fine.
Okay.
Everybody loves
Yeah,
17.
17 is excellent.
Yeah, I think we're really happy with, some of these changes. That one is not popular among the women golfers. I'm just letting you know.
Hopefully 5 is.
I think that one of our best golfers, she's like a 13 handicap, said, why didn't they put it over there to
On
the
the other
right,
side.
the other side? And, I didn't have an answer because this is not my specialty, but,
Safety from 10. That's where everybody's second shot goes.
safety from 10.
10th hole.
Okay, the 10th hole.
You push
could
your
get
second
hit
shot
there.
on 10. That's where
If
the
you
ball.
slice
That's where you're
your
landing.
ball, it's gonna
You
go
don't want
right.
to tee over there. You'll be getting bombarded.
On 18.
Correct.
On the
Second
right
shot
side
on
of the
10.
fairway.
Oh, so the guys
The
who
people
hit off
playing
the
the 10th
Blues,
hole.
the guys who play Army golf, left, right, left, right, they're the ones you'd have to worry about there?
Yeah.
All
The people
right.
hitting their second shot on 10, they hit it right. That's where it's
Oh,
going.
their second shot.
Correct.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
That's
like,
where it's
how's that
going.
gonna work? All right.
And there's plenty of when we do this too. Irrigation heads are number 1.
That's true.
Right.
It's easy to say the
Yeah.
tee should have gone there. Well, there's
No,
no
I'm just
irrigation
saying,
there.
this is what,
Right. I mean,
this is what this particular golfer said to me. It would have been so much better if it was over there. I'm not saying
Right.
I thought it was feasible. I'm just saying every
Yeah,
time I
safety.
play with a foursome
a
there.
little more thought goes into this than you might realize.
Oh, I'm sure, I'm sure.
You know, we're not just
Yeah.
blindly doing this.
Okay, no, oh, God.
No, I like
I
this.
never
Is
should
good.
have said anything.
No, Susan.
I'm just passing along
It's a
to you
legitimate
the general
comment.
perception that
Right.
they feel like it wasn't a huge improvement for the people who play the forward tees.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
James, other comments?
Can I just ask,
Oh, yeah, please.
while we're talking about tees and, on the third hole at Old Barney,
Yes.
did the 3
The trees,
trees, did that accomplish what you intended it to accomplish?
Obviously, those are there for a conceptual kind of. They're not actually going to stop anything.
Right.
But I think the combination of everything we did, which was eliminating the front box, shifting the tee a little to the right, angling it left, putting those trees, shifting the. I think the combination of all those little things does direct the golfer's eyes a little more to the left, and that's all we were trying to do.
Well, you can
So,
take those mounds out of there.
did it work?
The
Oh, no.
mounds.
We haven't heard anything bad.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, I know they kind of look at a place.
They look a little weird.
They
but,
do,
yeah.
they do, and if we had had time to really do it right, we would have really landscaped it and made it look a little more natural and native. But everything we did there was an attempt to just take the golfer's eyes and shift them 5 degrees to the left. And I no news is good news.
Good.
So
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no
good.
news is good
Yeah.
news on that. Good?
But are those mounds necessary?
On the
mound-
left?
Yeah.
Between-
The mounds that we're aiming for now.
The moguls, we call them.
Yeah,
wouldn't that hole be too easy without them?
it'd be easier. It would be easier.
Why would those be there? I'd love to ask the original architect. You know,
Yeah.
why would those be there?
But if you end
There's
up
a
on
lot of
top
them.
of one, it's a great launching pad.
Yeah, I mean, but it creates a lot of different shots.
Yeah, it does.
Especially as people who play the same golf course all the time, you want different lies and different shots.
Oh, absolutely,
You know,
yeah.
He's got an answer.
Somewhat of a protection from the seventh hole.
Once in a while.
True, because you're right. Without those mounds, there'd be a lot more crisscross
Yeah.
3 and 7.
That's true.
It repels balls
Yeah.
back onto their own
Yeah.
hole.
Shocking.
James?
All right, not too much more from me. As you know, the cart path project is taking off, well, it's going at Hyannis. They've done number 8, 1 green, 2 T, 5 green, and 9 T have been completed.
How's it look?
I'm very satisfied with the finished paving product. It's good.
Good.
They went down thick, which I think is gonna help us with our tree root problems in certain areas, which caused some of the buckling to begin with. And they did cut through them when they did the excavating of the old paths, which should help us.
They cut the roots,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yep.
Those trees will die,
yes, yep, we knew
Yeah.
that part was coming, but,
yeah.
no way around that.
Yeah, I know.
So, but as you know, Hyannis has a bit of a tree problem, so,
It's well treed.
yeah.
Underground
that's-
too.
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed in a little bit the lack of progress. I just thought the original finish date of this project was on their schedule to be Friday. It's not happening.
How much
so
more?
I'd say they're about 37, 33% done.
It's gonna go in the spring.
Yeah.
And the weather's been fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
what's the delay?
It's gonna end up going
What's-
into the spring.
Is it manpower or?
Bunch of miscellaneous stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Small staff, broken down trucks, rain.
Just, they're not as far along as I'd like
Yeah.
them to be on spreading loam. That's all part of the project is loam on everything they've done, which we've lost our seed window at this point, so.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a huge part. It's one thing to just pave, but now you have these,
We have these 3,
You know,
4-inch lips on the side.
and
It's
they have to
actually
taper
dangerous.
that off. Right. At one point, I mean, they couldn't even get a greens mower to the 8th hole
Yeah,
because the deck only raises up so much. And when you have a platform of asphalt like this,
So
literally-
so you have to fix that?
no.
No.
They
They do. It's just, progress has been it's been slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we indicated a number of times that
But the prices
the
are.
town requested that we get the lowest possible bid, and sometimes you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
You're not allowed to use the state's approved bidder list, huh, at the town level?
we can use state contract for some things. This, we were told, had to go out to bid. We used state contract for the cart lease. That's how we ended
Okay,
up
all
with
right.
that, and that was a bigger number. That was a $700,000 something dollar
So these are
number.
people who are pre-approved and can take a job that you need done.
Correct.
Without going out to bid.
Yep.
And you were not allowed to do that for the cart project.
Correct. I'm not exactly sure why. You'd have to, that's a procurement question. I'm not sure why. Yeah, everything's different. And like the awning, I just sent out today. I emailed a bunch of different vendors an RFQ, a request for quote, for the new awning at Hyannis. The old awning's gone, it's done, it's set it on fire.
Yeah.
So that's a big number. I mean, it's gonna be expensive.
Is there, there's a frame for
Yes,
that, okay.
yes, and I think we think the frame is in good enough shape. I made the site visit mandatory for that reason. I don't want them to show up in the spring and say, we can't use this.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so there'll be some site visits coming up, but that was neither state contract or publicly posted bid. She said I could just go ahead, and as long as I send it out to 3 or more vendors, that suffices. It's under 50,000.
So this cart path project is one contract?
Yes,
So these people have it for the whole, okay.
yeah, they're done, yeah, so hopefully.
Again, remember, it was 450,000, and then it went to 350,000,
Yeah,
and then it went to 275.
it's been chopped up, in other words.
Right.
But it's
So-
still one contract.
Yep.
Has this contractor worked for the town before?
I don't think so. That
Maybe some tennis courts.
Yeah, it said something about a
Yeah,
tennis
something
court,
a
but,
lot
but
smaller.
we had a meeting this morning with some DPW people, and they had never heard of them, and they've been with the town for a while. So, but I mean,
The spring work is gonna be tough. It's
Yeah.
gonna be tough.
yeah,
Especially
I
with
mean,
brand
James,
new, you'll have to seed it, or do they seed it and roll it?
Part of the contract is there to loam and seed,
Loam and seed,
including-
they roll it,
all the areas they're gonna damage on 5 by,
Yeah, with the-
with moving a heavy machinery out there.
I'm just thinking about some newly loamed, space adjacent to a cart path the carts go off the path, you're talking about,
Why are they going off the path?
if they do, oh God. It's giving me a bunch of
Because
crap.
that's the way people drive, that's why.
Because
Birdies.
that's-
Well,
They're
and
going
that
off
might
because of
be
birdies.
part of the things we do in-house, maybe some fence on 6 to keep people on the path on
Yeah.
6 green.
Yeah, because people just ride all over the place.
Because
They
we
don't
want
really
grass
pay-
to grow there, right now it's
We're
dirt.
gonna
5
have
feet
to
off the
be
green.
really,
Vigilant.
yeah, and we're gonna ask players
Yeah,
to,
signage.
please,
Yeah.
don't be driving on
Well,
these
that's why
newly
I'm
seeded
saying-
areas, we're begging you, you know.
Spring,
keep-
you know, to do that in the spring, to
Yeah,
loam and
golfers
seed
have
the
this
road.
weird thing where they always wanna keep 2 wheels on the, off the path. They
Yeah.
pull up to where they're going, whether it
Yeah.
be, it's always tee box or green side, and they pull the nearest 2 wheels over.
That's kind of what I'm
Why,
talking about.
why is it so hard to keep all 4 wheels on the path? I have no idea.
Yeah, it's what I'm
But
talking about. and
I'll
it's-
blow my stack over that in the spring.
That's gonna be difficult.
Cape Cod
Because
Springs,
somebody's
not-
always coming the other way and they have to get out of the
Oh,
way.
yeah, right, yeah.
Or the other cart behind them wants
Behind
to go
needs to- yeah.
past.
And typically Cape Cod Springs are, not conducive to
Right.
good germination. It's
No
just-
kidding.
It's wet, it's
Yeah.
cold.
Look, Cape
Yeah, I
Cod
mean,
has
it'll
lousy
be
spring.
June before it's,
Well, yeah.
maybe,
And well, we'll see when they
Yeah.
get going and
right.
So James, don't you just need like a 20-degree difference between daytime temperature and nighttime for the seeds to germinate?
It depends on the seed, but once you start getting into mid-November, even if they do germinate, it's not gonna be a strong plant.
Okay.
You're talking, not a lot of growth, shallow root system.
So right now is.
We're right on the edge right
Right
now.
on the edge,
Yeah,
okay.
we're right on the edge of not. And with the lack of amount of loam they've spread, they're not gonna be able to do it.
Okay, any questions for James? All right, Director of Golf Report?
All right. Again, not a ton to report on besides what's already been covered, which is all the big stuff. We're in the thick of budget season, all that entails. We did the CIP submissions. We have the decision packages coming up. I'll talk about those next meeting, because that's when they'll be due. Budget narrative, annual report, all the fun stuff, the reports that I have to put together. I do want to mention, John had pointed out last month very correctly that these numbers just didn't make sense on the year to date. Well, not the year to date, the year end for FY '22. I sent out, you should have all gotten it, the updated copy. I have no clue what happened, but these numbers are correct. So I don't know if you got a chance to look at it, but
Yeah.
basically FY '22, this now shows we did just under 4 million in revenue. That 91,000 is a transfer from surplus that was in the budget, but we didn't end up needing it, if that makes sense, to put us at like 4.075. And then actual expenses at 3.6. So now you can see, in plain English, our net of $450,000 last year, which makes sense because our surplus went from 1.9 to 2.3 and change. So that's been corrected. I
Thank you.
apologize for not getting out in front of that. I mean, I need to do a better job of looking at this stuff.
We don't, John brings these up, this is a team effort here. And John is excellent at this, I know him personally, and
He's a numbers guy.
he's a numbers guy, but this is just a team effort, and John is making these suggestions, and they were well received by Jesse, and we moved on from there. So, thanks, John, and thanks, Jesse, for correcting it.
Well, I think we probably got the preliminary June, and there was a final June that we didn't
It
get.
had to have been, because I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried to do some, dare I say, forensic. I try and I couldn't. I just, all I knew is they were wrong and I didn't know why. And then so Susan said, let me work on this. And she came back at me and she said, you know what, I think this, and I looked at these and I said, that's exactly what it should be. This jives. So where we went wrong, I have no clue, but we're good.
That's great, that's the only thing that counts.
In terms of rates and fees proposal, there's a public fee hearing a week from today at 11 o'clock via Zoom. That link is available on the homepage of the town website under the town calendar. Typically what happens is Town Manager Mark Ells will read into the record all of the proposed changes that we voted on. I will then provide the rationale for the proposed changes, much similar language to what I've said to all of you. and there'll be an opportunity for questions to be asked. Questions could come from anybody, members of the public, town staff, town councilors, who knows? Never know what kind of questions we could get, but I feel confident in our rationale, and I think we'll be fine. Talking budget, October was not a great month. Tons of rain. In fact, I think we had 11 rain days in total. Obviously, you lose a third of the month. The revenue will reflect that. Early membership signups were also a little low. I take fault in some of that. I don't think we pushed it as hard as we have in the past. But we entered October up 200,000 against forecasted revenue. We took a $70,000 hit. So the good news is, as bad as October was, we still entered November $130,000 to the good relative to forecasted revenues. So far, November's been really solid. We're already about half of the projection for the entire month, only 8 days in. We really don't expect any substantial movement in that number from now until we get into January, as November, December are really small months revenue-wise. December only has 30,000 of forecasted revenue attached to it. So even if December is a real down month, it won't do much damage. So I'm confident we're gonna enter January still with a 6-figure positive variance versus forecast. I talked about earlier, we just posted the RFP for a new awning over the back deck at Hyannis. Bidders have just under a month for submittals, and we'll go from there, hopefully having a new one installed in April. Already talked, yeah, I got out in front of these things. The RFP for the food and beverage here is posted. Talked about who the committee will be. Old Barnstable Fairgrounds we will close for the season as of coming up Monday the 21st. That's going to give the staff, mainly his people, a few days to shut everything down and get everything in storage before the Thanksgiving holiday. Speaking of Thanksgiving, Hyannis will be open for a half day, the day before Thanksgiving, closed on the day of, and then reopening for business as usual Friday the 25th and throughout the winter. Once we get past that Thanksgiving holiday, we have a lot of staff that has some hard-earned vacation to use, and this is the time to do it. The majority of our staff, as you know, doesn't really get to step away from the time we get going in late March until this time of year. And then it's kind of a mad scramble to use it before it expires on January 1st. So it's always tough to try to coordinate with everybody and, what days are you taking, what days are we taking? Because again, I mean, from April through October, forget it. I'm not trying to cry about it, but that's what it is. That's pretty much, that's what I got.
Could we mention the fundraisers?
Ms. Connolly, you have the floor.
I asked Jesse if we could, because this is a public meeting, if we could mention our 2 fundraisers, our annual fundraisers that I think are very important contributions to the people of Barnstable and the Cape. So the first is the annual Cuda Classic tournament, and because of the horrible weather, we couldn't have our golf portion. So even with it, we did have fundraisers. We actually had staff from Cuda come and speak with us, and it was a fabulous day, and we raised a lot of money despite not being able to have our golf tournament part. We raised $8,300 for the Cuda Women's Health Center this year, and hopefully next year we can play golf as well and hit our 10,000 target. And then secondly, I'll speak for Mary Hallway, who of course is our pro here at Old Barney. Each year she runs what she calls the Turkey Open, which raises money for local food pantries. And she raised close to $1,000,
Yes.
right, Keith?
We reached 1,000.
Yeah, we reached 1,000, which was fabulous, and she will distribute that between the Veterans Outreach Center and another local food pantry. So I just wanted to bring that up because I think it's a really important thing to mention.
It's absolutely very important. We mention this all the time, that we are part of this community, and both of those, I know Suzanne mentioned this, but both of those events raise money that goes directly back into the Barnstable community.
That's right.
Very important.
Thank you for that.
We're involved in town.
Thank you for letting me mention that.
Of course, and I should be more all over that. I get so bogged down in the, you know,
No,
the
it's
CIP
fine.
and the stuff, you know,
We're a team.
the stuff that I'm, you know,
Yes.
deadlined with.
Jesse, I understand all the inventory that's at OBF will be shipped down to Hyannis?
Yes, there's not much, I don't think, but, yeah, I basically said to Mary and Tom and everybody, why have it sit there all winter?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't care if it has an old Barnstable logo on it, we can sell it in the Hannah shop.
Why not?
Of course.
People have credit, they need to use it,
Yep.
yeah,
What's the deadline on using the credit?
calendar year,
Okay.
so there'll be, yeah, so you got time, you got.
God, I have thousands of
7 weeks.
dollars. Yeah.
Any questions of Jesse? I would just like to remind the members of the committee that it has been a tradition that a meeting during the winter months is skipped by the golf committee, simply because there isn't really pressing business. So if you can, look at your calendars. I realize it's a few months in advance, so that we all can come up with the best mutually agreeable date. We just want to make sure we have a quorum at every meeting, and it's important for all members to either let me know or to let Jesse know if they can attend. Please do that. So again, just check your calendars.
Our next meeting is at Hyannis, not here?
News to me,
No, it's
I don't
always.
know,
Oh, no.
because
You'll be
this is
closed,
closed, right?
I got keys.
Oh, okay.
Good, do you have heat?
Yeah.
No,
True.
we've always
I'll
been
have
here.
Dawn come in here and turn the heat on.
Yeah.
Boost it up a little bit.
No, the December meeting will be here for sure, yeah. All the winter meetings are here.
Right.
Okay, I was just asking.
Okay, no, good, good
Oh, no,
question.
the way you said it, I thought you had heard.
Yeah,
that.
I heard
Yeah,
via
yeah.
the grapevine that, yeah, no.
Oh.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make
And a
that.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.